Let's start off the way we started the show off yesterday. Take you to Congo, Brazzaville. That's the venue of the 2015 African Games, or the All Africa Games as you know it to be. The name is changing. It's now going to be called African Games. But let's take you to Congo and just quickly give you some updates. Just a few minutes ago, it was like an anticlimax for our football, the football event of the 2015 African Games for the men, against all odds. Let me start with the Nigerian results. We lost. That's the story. Yeah. We lost. The circumstances surrounding how we lost, we do not know yet, but we know that we've lost to Burkina Faso by 3-1 in the semi-finals of the men's football event of the All Africa Games. The host, Congo, also lost 1-3 to Senegal. All right? So disappointment for the host. Yeah. Disappointment for Nigeria. Interestingly, Cosmos, that has been everybody's dream final, Congo against Nigeria. But it's not going to be in the final. It's going to be third place, a bronze medal game. For the final, it will be Senegal against Burkina Faso. Let's talk about it before we talk about the women. Okay. Disappointment number one. All hopes, high hopes on Samson Siasia and his boys to at least maybe get a medal for the second time in the history of the All Africa Games. But we have to wait at least 4 more years for that to happen. Yeah,
for the last time Nigeria won the gold in the All African Games football event was in Lagos 73 at the newly built National Stadium at the time. And during that, since then, it's been difficult. Nigeria got to the final as well in Abuja 2003, but lost to Cameroon by 3-0. No, 4-0 in that year. So it's sad. But then this should be like an eye-opener because we're preparing for a championship that should qualify us for the Olympics. So basically, I think lessons have been learned here. Yes.
A lot of lessons, Cosmos, for us to learn from this. The men are going to be playing the Under-23 Cup of Nations in November.
Yes.
Eye-opener for Samson Siasia to know what he needs to do. To be able to get one of the 3 automatic tickets at stake and get his team to the semi-final. That's the first one.
Yeah.
The second one has got to do with the Nigerian Football Federation and the Super Eagles of Nigeria, who have African Nations Championship qualifier against Burkina Faso in about a month's time.
Well,
from now. So we know now that Burkina Faso can have a team good enough to beat our dream team by 3-1.
Basically, since 2013, Burkina Faso have been one of those teams in Africa that has been emerging. I mean, they played Nigeria in the finals that year, and we were able to beat them just with a goal. So,
and when we met in the group, it was 1-1.
It was 1-1, and it was a very tough match too. So, anybody. I, for one, did not underrate the boys from Burkina Faso because the Stallions, because they have been showing in this competition. They have been very consistent. They have not lost a game, and they have been consistent.
They lost to Congo.
They lost to Congo. Yes, they lost to Congo, but then they have been consistent.
And they got here through the toss of the coin or the lucky draw.
Well, they did that, but then against Nigeria, anybody that wants to play against Nigeria, any team that wants to play against Nigeria, you have to, everything has to be in place. And of course, Nigeria, maybe we would say that the fact that they did not play the first game against Egypt probably contributed to this. But then I would not agree. I would not agree with that because they played against Ghana. It was a wonderful game.
Burkina Faso have played more games.
Yeah, Burkina Faso have played more.
If you're talking of fatigue, it should be more on the side of Burkina Faso than Nigeria. We have just played 2 games. We played Ghana. We played Burkina Faso.
I think they were more fit.
This is the 3rd game for us. Burkina Faso have played 3 games and this one 4.
I think they were.
If we're talking of fatigue, Burkina Faso should be complaining of fatigue, not Nigeria.
I'm not going to talk about fatigue. I'm going to talk about the team that was even more fitter. You know, the Burkina Faso, the Burkina Babes. They play. What they do is that they play physical football. They have skills, but they had it with a whole lot of physicality. Now the Nigerians, they play. Try as much as possible to bring flair. Come on, every CSR teams must play with flair anyway. So, but the problem with this present CSR team is the fact that they cannot score goals.
They don't score many goals.
Exactly, they do not score goals.
We also need to state it that this is the first time that these boys are losing a competitive game. Siasia and his boys. Yeah. This is the first time they are losing a competitive game.
But then there's been so many knocks on the door. I mean, yes,
Senegal.
Yes, Senegal. Against Senegal as well. That was a very tough game as well. Although they were the ones that dominated the game, but then they couldn't just score goals. Now, in their qualifiers as well, you would realize that even in Nigeria, they were unable to score goals. And even when they score goals, maybe it was with a goal deficit or something.
They were always conceding.
They were always conceding, and they will go away and they will just try and come out with a victory. So, well, what I'm trying to say is that we're not criticizing. We're saying that Siasia has a whole lot of work to do. Now, you shouldn't depend on their winnings, on the inner chores and all. I feel that we can as well build a good team out of this.
But sorry to cut you short, but that's what has happened with the team.
Yeah, basically.
He has built this team around
those guys.
Players. When the foreign pros are available, they join. If they are not available, he goes to games with what he has. And it has worked so far.
It has worked.
But at this competition, he had to play 2 men short because he couldn't get Godwin.
Xavier Sukari.
Xavier Godwin.
Xavier Godwin and Usman.
And Shehu Abdullahi. Okay. Shehu Abdullahi. He couldn't get those ones for this game. So he had to play 2 men short.
Okay.
No excuses. We couldn't win gold.
And some of the players were in the Super Eagles as well. Yeah, some of the players were in the Super Eagles.
Mohamed Usman,
exactly. They were in the Super Eagles as well.
And they couldn't come for the All Africa Games.
Well, but that is not...
That's not good enough.
That's not a good... That's not like a good excuse. It's an excuse, but it's not an excuse that Nigerians want to hear. So, for me, this is like an eye-opener. The big one is... not qualify. The big one, that is the
Olympic
one that Nigerians will be very disappointed if they do not qualify. You could remember that prior to Beijing 2008, Nigeria couldn't qualify as well for the All-African Games. Under Siasia, Ghana came here and they made sure that they got that draw that did not qualify us for the All-African Games that year. So, but then he tried as much as possible to qualify for Beijing 2008, and everything was forgiven.
All the way up to the finals.
Everything was forgiven.
Silver medal.
So, I don't want them to make the same mistake that Austin Eguavoin did 4 years ago when he couldn't qualify the then dream team to London 2012. And you know what we missed at the time. So this is like an eye-opener. It's just sad that we will not be winning the gold again. And we have to wait for the next 4 years.
All right, so that's it. Lessons learned for Samson Siasia and his boys. Shake off this defeat very quickly and begin to prepare for the CAF Under-23 Cup of Nations. Whatever you need to do to get the confidence back into these boys and get the quality back and get them ready for the tough CAF Under-23 Cup of Nations, we need to do it as quickly as possible. The second lesson, as we highlighted, is for the home-based Eagles that have a qualifier against Burkina Faso in about a month from now. You cannot take Burkina Faso for granted.
Exactly.
That's the message. Let's talk about this one as well. This is also a very bitter pill for us to swallow. This is the Falcons of Nigeria. When we couldn't qualify for the Olympics and we lost out to Equatorial Guinea, we said because so and so happened, we couldn't get our best players, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. Now look at what has happened. We lost 2-1 today to Cameroon and we are out of the gold medal game. We didn't qualify for the All Africa Games 4 years ago. Now we can't win gold. We have to play the losers final. And it's going to be between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire in the third place game. The final will be Cameroon and Ghana. Do we need to say it again that some countries are beginning to challenge our dominance in the women's game?
Yeah, of course. It is not something we need to say.
We are finding it difficult to maintain that same level of consistency. At the Africa Women's Championship, we beat Cameroon, we beat Ghana, we beat everybody. But when you come to Olympic Games qualifiers, All Africa Games qualifiers, we are unable to maintain that same level of consistency.
These teams are learning. You understand? They are learning. They have gotten past us. If we, let's
I don't agree that they've gotten past us.
Well, when I say they have gotten past us,
there must be something that
gotten
to the
point. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm happy that the Nigeria Football Federation are realizing this, and of course, in their meeting last week, where the executive committee,
the foreign coach,
Well,
is that the solution to the problem of our girls, our team? A lot of people have given different reasons for why we're not maintaining that consistency. They talked about the league.
Okay.
They talked about a structure for the game.
Of course.
Grassroots and all of that.
Of course.
In terms of league football, maybe South African League is the one that you could say yes.
When it comes to women?
With the women's game.
Okay.
And they are not even here as well.
Okay.
So what is really the problem with our dominance of the women's game or our improving our level?
Tony, you have highlighted it. The league, one. The structure.
Ghana
and
don't have a
I'm
league.
Saying it.
Cameroon don't have a league comparable to ours.
Well, and I'm saying it, the disparity that the administrators or the preferential treatment that they have for the men who play football to the women.
Is there any place where there's no professional treatment for the men's game and the women's game? Even FIFA gives more attention to the men's game than the women's game. Yeah, we try to develop the women's game, but the men's game is in a different class.
It's in a different class, but then when the gap is too much, you talked about FIFA, the gap is not much. The gap, of course, you know, the men football will always be better, but it's not particularly much.
You can't compare the FIFA World Cup, the main senior FIFA World Cup, with the Women's World Cup.
Well, you cannot compare, but then FIFA put all structures on ground just to develop women's football. We're talking about the structure here. We're talking about the league, and the league so far, in the last 10 years, you know how the league has been in Nigeria. There are times that the league will go over a year. There are times, you understand?
Teams walk over.
Exactly.
I understand your point about the league, but my worry is Cameroon, Ghana, beating us, do not even have leagues comparable to ours. Some of their best players come here to play.
Some of their best players
come here to play.
Well, that tells you that these teams, they're realizing that, Nigeria is not...
Is it a coaching problem? Or is it part of the problem? Is it all, or is it part of it?
The coaching is actually part of the problem, but it's not probably the main problem. The main problem is basically to develop women's football, to realize that other teams in Africa are doing catch-up. They're already catching up with us. Cameroon actually stopped us from qualifying for the last All-African Games. Not just the All-African Games, for the London 2012 Olympics as well. They stopped us as well. So, and Cameroon, you saw them at the World Cup. You saw them at the World Cup. I mean, that their first game was awesome. That was like...
They qualified for the second round.
Exactly. That was emphatic. They qualified for the second round. That shows that they are doing something right. You get what I'm trying to say? So, for me, let's see what the NFF are trying to do. Yes, they want to get a new coach, and they've given the technical committee maximum of 2 weeks. 1 week has gone already to come up with a coach. And on this same medium, on this same station, a day or two ago, the president of the Nigeria Football Federation was there, and he talked about the development of the game, and he talked about the women game as well. So for me, talk is cheap. Let them start working. Because this result that we saw today, I wasn't particularly surprised. I mean, I felt, if Nigeria won, it would have been better. We did not qualify for the Olympics, and Nigeria should win just, to give that, you get what I'm trying to say. But then, as far as I'm concerned, development has to be it. Yes, we went to the World Cup, we played well and all. I think the problem of this Super Falcons started after the World Cup, when the coach was removed, another coach came in, or even if it was part of the setup, and of course some players weren't available and all that. So for me, they should just try to work on it.